you must look for them wherever they are.
News of Democratic Party President Norbert Mao being appointed as the new Justice and Constitutional Affairs Minister has attracted mixed reactions, with political analysts calling it an answered long prayer for Mao, but opposition politicians calling it a disgrace. The appointment comes shortly after a cooperation agreement between President Museveni, also the national chairman of NRM, signed on behalf of the party, and DP President Mao, signed on behalf of Uganda's oldest political party, DP.
The opposition as a whole, they have politically suffered a big setback. Not necessarily that they have all given in, but on the psychology of the public, that the public will always treat them with mistrust and suspicion. Just one person has committed the evil, but the likelihood of the evil to cut across is enormous.
According to Professor Siraj Nsanja, after a long-standing dream to capture state power, the opposition sought for what he calls a crafty shortcut for Mao to see the long-delayed dream attained.
Logically, when you look at these people, they have been in opposition for too long. So there was that political apathy that was brewing up within the opposition. They were looking forward to capturing that moment of capturing state power, and it was not soon coming. So this was perceived as a crafty shortcut to getting there, to realizing their political dreams by crafting a cooperation agreement with the chief.
On the cooperation agreement, Nsanja says it was intended by Mao to book a ministerial posting. However, Nsanja scoffs at the Mao-led DP faction for assuming to have a power-sharing deal, saying with the cunning tactics of ruling government, it is a far cry.
When you look at the politics of the national resistance movement, it is far from sharing power with any political opposition. You either give in and you join the government as a single individual, but not for purposes or on platforms of sharing power with the NRM.
Going by the history repeating itself perception, when Basil Batarigaya in 1964 led a number of DP legislators defect to the then ruling UPC, Nsanja says it would be hard to implement the Mao-NRM agreement.
Historically, we had such a thing in the past, but in the recent past, we had not witnessed anything of a similar nature. So what was done, or what was concluded yesterday by the two principals of the DP and the National Resistance Movement could resurrect the moments, the memories of what had earlier on been done in the 60s. So as a country, we look forward to see the workability of this one vis-a-vis the workability of the other one in history.
Asked about the impact of the agreement to opposition politics, Nsanja says it's negative.
The opposition political grouping and the opposition as a whole, they have been casted in a very complicated state of affairs, because now it will take a while to convince the ordinary masses on the ground that maybe these people will not betray them at another time.
Legal experts have dug a hole in the cooperation agreement, calling it illegal. However, Nsanja says given the fact that it was the two-party principles that penned on the agreement, it is binding.
When we look at who is mandated to sign on behalf of the organization, the two parties or the two principals on this side were the people legally mandated to sign on behalf of their political parties. So in terms of legality, the corporate...
Mao was elected as president of the Democratic Party during the party's delegates conference on 20th February 2010. But his reign has been mired by controversy, including allegations that he was a spy among the opposition. This resulted in two splits and depolarization at the height of the 2021 general elections, when a group of party members defected and joined the newly formed NUP, and subsequently widening the rifts within the party.
Finally, he's gone. As he goes, we just want to remind him that there were others that dined with Museveni before. Agura Awori, the late, may his soul rest in eternal peace. The Honorable Mara Atubo, Honorable Florence Nachuala Chinji, my sister Hajat Kanyike, Sarah Kanyike, and so many others. He's frustrated them, used and dumped them. If nobody thinks he's different from them, it is okay. we bid farewell to him.
A woman can cohabit for a while, but eventually time comes and they get married. So for a long time, Mr. Mao has been pretending. I'm glad the pretense has ended. Mr. Mao lost his saltness a long time ago. He was no longer the big-time heavyweight that he was years ago. But even if he was still a big heavyweight, look, even if we all woke up, those of us who are leaders within the opposition, and all of us crossed over to Mr. Museveni, the mere fact that the challenges Ugandans are grappling with don't go away, Ugandans will form new leadership amongst themselves and they'll keep pursuing their struggle for change. Because even if all of us cross over, the price of fuel is not going to come down because we've crossed over. Hospitals and health centers are not going to get medicine. Schools are not going to get better, these UPE schools.
No problem with the President General of DP joining the government. What is important, what has he come with? This is not the first time an opposition member to join the government. A case in point, UPC also joined the NRM. And you have leaders, you have ministers in this government. So if he has anything to do with developing this country, there's no problem, we'll welcome him. There's no problem.
This was very good, it's very important. You know, in a country, it's good either way to have opposition and ruling government party. But sometimes it's good to rhyme and coordinate together. So I think it's more important and it's going to be of a benefit to we Ugandans.
I think it was a well thought out decision because, there's a saying that if you can't win them, then join them. So I believe Norbert Mao's decision and the team at DP is a good gesture that they have been working for Ugandans.
It's about 45 minutes past the hour of 7 o'clock in the morning. Welcome back from the Twitter Jabs 1. My name is Priva Elibaz, and the conversation continues right here on our Twitter Jabs 2 as we look at the NRM and the DP Cooperation Agreement. And joining me right now in studio is Dr. Rogers Barigayomwe, who is the chairman of the Labour Party and is a political analyst as well. Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Welcome to the show, Doctor.
Pleasure to be here.
Yes. So before I actually seek your opinion on the NRM DP Cooperation Agreement, are you surprised that this happened?
I'm not surprised. It was actually like one opposition leader said, he has arrived. We're anticipating this and we are not surprised anymore.
You knew it was going to happen at the end of it all?
Really, we knew, looking at the politics of Uganda, we knew it was in the interest of President Museveni. Remember, he warned that there will be no more opposition in 5 years. And we also saw Mao. You saw him on the plane to Seattle. Yes. With government people. He's been in the conversation. And by his own sayings, they were saying that it's other opposition members, but finally everything has come to light.
Has come to light. Share with us your thoughts on the agreement. What do you think about this agreement?
Priva, the agreement between Mao and the DP and NRM, first of all, it's surprising because one, Mao has been given the custody of the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs. So, and he's a trained lawyer and a very well-known lawyer. What surprises me is that Mao knows that this is not the position of DP. In spirit and in consultation, he knows it. And the other thing, what surprises me is that President Museveni, as the president of Uganda, he knows this was a decision, yes, of the principal of DP, the president and secretary general, but it's not the position of DP and the masses. So for me, it brings me to a state that where Uganda is, that a head of state can sit with some kind of, that's what I call, it's a moral decay. There is moral decay in the country, where that it's like he's sitting with a mufere. Yes, I'm the manager of Centenary, but I'm not representing the views of the bank. So, and you sit with them and you do a deal, which you know, as the head of state, you should have cross-checked, because the president has intelligence to tell him that actually what Mao is doing is between him and the secretary general because they want money. But when you as a head of state go ahead to do such a thing, it shows you the level of integrity you have. Then Mao, it is fine if he had gone as an individual. It would be fine to get a ministerial post or to get some money. But when he knows that it is not in the interest of DP and he goes and takes a deal, it is the highest level of what we'll call, the best is in Uganda, which is said buffere. Both being done by the head of state and the principal of DP. Because we've seen most DP members are going to come up and it's going to split DP further. And very soon you'll see battles coming up by people saying that we have no
opposition.
We have no, like DP, like Mao is no longer the President General of DP and is going to be ousted out as the President General of DP. I will tell you, even people like the senior most DP member who is still alive, Paul Semogere, he will be interviewed very soon. He will tell you that we don't believe in this. So it is the highest level of buffere which is coming in our country, and I was here, I warned that it is going to be seen across all institutions. You are seeing political parties doing buffere at the highest level. It is even in our people, in our businessmen, it is in our economy, it is in big institutions, including banks. I witnessed it last week. No integrity. I told people that NRM could have built roads, could have built bridges, but the highest thing it has taken away from Uganda is a moral degradation. Yes. And you cannot repair once, even the Bible says once a spirit is destroyed, who can repair? The morals of Ugandans are no longer there. That a person can go and sell a party when he knows that the party does not believe in what he's saying. So I don't believe in this agreement. This agreement can't stand, as it will not stand on behalf of DP. It will stand on behalf of Mao as an individual. Yes, we have to give credit to Mao. He has done many sacrifices. But if he wanted to live or wanted to get money at one point, he would have gone as an individual, not taken an institution in his being buffere. Yes.
Well, Mr. Mao and President Museveni described their new argument as politics of maturity and integrity. I know you did speak on the issue of integrity, but that's how they described this argument that they entered into. What do you make of that?
Yeah, the integrity, and that's why I give a plus. If it was a whole DP as an institution coming to talk with the national resistance movement, not with Museveni, but the national resistance movement, we should not look at personalities. That's where the maturity of our country should go. I personally think of conversation, decent conversation. We are not talking about conversation of Museveni as a person or his family, and Mao as a person or his family. But if I can prove that the organs of NRM knew about it, discussed about it, and the organs of DP knew about it, discussed it, then this is the best level of maturity. But as what I gather as a researcher, it is two bufferi coming together to sell their parties and their wishes. And this is continuing to be in Uganda, and we all look at it. But if you weaken, because in Museveni's own word, he said his aim is to do what? To weaken the opposition.
No, yes.
But he doesn't know. He told Uganda that my aim is to weaken the whole Uganda. Because if you are a good player, then you should have other good players around you. A good bank, one of the top banks, cannot be audited by a fake institution in NASA. They say if you're a bank like, let's say, Stanbic, Centenary, you have to be audited by one of the best law firms around, like Detroit, like Ernst & Young, because they know the highest level. So if you want to build a good institution, in political science we call it institutional theory. When you have to have good institutions, like good national political parties, there should be other strong parties around. If you had to be a strong leader like Yoweri Museveni, you have to have other strong leaders around. You're not only going, if you kill them, whether they are in the movement or with the opposition, you're killing a nation.
Well, where do you think this leaves DP as the oldest political party in Uganda? Do you think they're actually able to come back from this political uncertainty?
One, I will challenge you. Labour Party, which I lead, and on record is and I'm yet to show it to the public that it is the oldest political party in Uganda. But okay, DP has been one of the oldest political parties.
Yes.
But it has been selling its birthright. Because I'll tell you that DP won the first election in this country. But somehow, because of its weakness, there comes Milton Obote, outstood them. And they had the first prime minister, but he did not make the government until Milton Obote came and made the first constitutional government after independence. Benedicto Chiwanka was outwitted. It comes back whereby in 1964, Batalingaya and other DP members work and form an alliance with UPC. But good enough, they went as individuals, they did not sell DP.
The entire party.
Paul Semogere himself, he was hoodwinked by Yoweri Museveni, because Paul Semogere had literally won an election in 1981. But this one who didn't even get 1%, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, hoodwinked him into joining him. He gave him all his support, and Yoweri Museveni formed the government. He made him just like he gave him Byoya Byanswa like they are giving Mao for some period. By the time Paul Semogere realized it was too late, Museveni had taken all his members. So DP has never recovered, and I believe it will never recover. Unfortunately, all the what you would call parties, traditional parties, have all gone.
Yes.
And we are left with nothing. And in Museveni's interest, it was his vision to kill Ugandan institution. But I'll take him to 1 Kings 19, even in the Bible, where Elijah thought that when you kill, if he was killed by Baal and his prophet, there will be no more prophet. And God told him, there are 7,000 more prophets you don't know. When I was coming, I saw children of Kololo High, and I said, I tell Museveni, woe to you. There are more people who are coming up. Where Norbert Mao goes, 1,000 more will come. We are there. We are national leaders. He might not know. He might think Mao was the biggest player. No, God will always rise up Davids, even when you try to manipulate them. Because what Mao has gone for, it's a spirit of mammon. He went to get money. But God will rise up more people. And you cannot keep bribing everyone. You cannot be God. Whoever you take, God will replace. And so it is not that as he wishes that he will kill the political parties, he will die and leave the political parties here, even stronger than himself. God will raise Ugandans who are even stronger than Yoweri Museveni, because it is God who made them. I've always told you, these people were overlooked by Obote in 1981. Obote thought actually DP and Paul Semogere were the big people. He looked at you and said, these are jokers, they are bandits. But God raised them up. But out of their arrogance, they've forgotten. They think the power lies in their hands. But woe to them, it will not happen. Mao is just a peg boy, escorting President Yoweri Museveni to his last wedding. And you know what the last wedding is? The political parties will be there, will be born even after NRM. There will be stronger leaders. God will raise up his own. His own.
Yes, well, we see that a section of the Democratic Party members of Parliament denounced or rejected Chairman Mao. Yes, and they actually decided that they plan on electing a new president as soon as possible. Do you think that was the right course of action in the moment, or it's just panic? It's out of panic?
Of course, it is mixed with panic, but that's a body politic of the nation. If you don't come up right now, they will look at them as weak. They might have acted, but the truth is, like I saw the UID saying that from this morning, right now they are protecting the headquarters of DP. From this buffet of Mao's, and they are right to protect their own. Democratic Party, being one of the oldest parties in Uganda, has worked, has built up institutions. So you cannot sell them as an individual or as individuals. So in that case, there is cause for some level of panic and some level of moving fast, because first of all, even these people, their actions were also out of panic because they did not consult. We saw it in one evening, and after a few hours there was an appointment. Actually, you see a panic even in State House itself, because after why don't you wait? If you are not a Mufereo, you're doing honest thing. Why after the memorandum? Because it shows you that after the memorandum, 2
That was the
hours
decision,
after
yes.
the president signed that document, because some of us started seeing it yesterday morning. So it was panic in State House. Why do you think they shouldn't be panic in DP? They should come out and protect their own and say that, you know, this thing, Mao let Chairman Mao go as an individual, but there is some level of buffet and they expose the sins. Yes.
Do you think, but though that was the right course of action? Or
Yeah.
they could have taken another different approach?
I'm telling you, you are in a war. Do you get it? Let's take it a homestead. In the night, you were attacked by thieves. And I'm telling you, these are like real thieves in the physical. They have a ferry. Have you ever gone in town and a mufere takes your mobile? Eh?
Yes.
How do you act? Do you act like a gentleman when a mufere is taking your phone? This thing was an action of bufferi. These were a bufferi. Now, you expect these people not to panic? So, yes, right now, DP good enough, and Mao used to say it that that he has brain power and everything, so it has all those legal counsels. They will sit down later on. Of course, the panic, I say they should have also reacted a bit in panic, but they will calm down and see the best approach. But I'm telling you, my dear, Uganda no longer has decency. So if you are dealing with indecent people, these people who just know the military tactics, you also have to have a certain sort of a military kind of formation in yourself. But the decent thing is, let them use the constitution of DP,
The DPS.
to react to what Mao is doing. Because in the end, this thing is also going to go to courts of law, because Mao is going also to somehow resist. And I'm sure right now, I'm not there. Right now, Mao has protection of the state. Remember now with the Minister of Constitutional Affairs.
Yes, because I was going to ask you.
At headquarters, they are going to deploy not even police, military police. So NRM, remember now they are cooperating with the DP. NRM is going to take over the headquarters of DP. So DP is going to be overtaken, has been sold to what? To NRM. So according to Museveni, DP is an asset of NRM.
The aspect of courts of law, do you think they would actually be able to get any solutions if the DP as a party prosecuted Mr. Norbert Mao in court? Do you think they would actually get a solution out of that, based on the fact that now he's the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs?
Definitely, but you know, who, for example, I'll tell you, look at the body politic. In the end, it ends up with the highest court. But who is the Chief Justice? He's the man he went with to Seattle. So, what the law should do, the referee, the law should be the referee. So we always run to there.
Yes.
But unfortunately for Uganda, the whole justice system has also been manipulated.
The judiciary is not in
The judiciary is manipulated by NRM cadres. And these days, they even give judges to be on the acting position for their interest. So, naturally, they will run to the courts of law.
Yes.
But there is also dwindling hope in the courts of law, because we've made it like we've put the technocrats, the judges, into partisan politics. And we already know the mind of the people, the powers that be. Some are in favor. Actually, some are the power brokers. They were the brokers. I will tell you for one that some of these people who are power brokers are the people who hold these sensitive positions in the highest courts of the land. So what do we have? That's why I'm saying our nation, we have to cry for it, the moral decadence. But I'm saying, Mao, even all of us are facing fuel prices. Is it the fuel prices which made him pushed him to this position? If Mao, who gets money from iPod, can suffer to this extent, what is an ordinary Ugandan facing?
Well, getting back to the argument and looking at some of the reactions, Dr. Kizza Besigye said, and I quote, Honorable Mao needs to be congratulated for arriving after a long journey and for the unprecedented step taken. Does this mean Dr. Kizza Besigye actually condones this argument?
Yeah, Dr. Kizza Besigye really does not bless this agreement. But in him, he knows what a person who has been, and for once we should give credit to Mao for the years, from the time he was in student politics in Makerere
University, yes.
About 30 years. And I know what these people, for me who I call my father, how cunning they can be. They will kill your marriage. They will put you in debt. They are so selfish. Mao lost his marriage. He had he bought a lot. I don't know why he lastly sold his soul, but he had passed through a lot. But also we can't judge him. We don't know what they had threatened him with. We don't know what they offered him. But what I'm saying, let's just give him credit for the last maybe 20 years and say, okay, maybe. But for me, what pained me is that he sold the party. But as Mao, he would have gone as an individual. He has suffered a lot. Yeah? But the last 5 years, all of us political players, we could read what Mao was after. Mao, he will never forgive himself because he sold Democratic Party. He's the one even who created NUP by all the exodus of most of the remaining pillars of DP to NUP. It was a result of Mao, who was being funded by the NRM. So I go to tell our fathers in NRM that what you are doing, it will affect your children, us, and your grandchildren. What you are doing is going to directly affect you. What Mao you have done, it is always going to directly affect your descendants. So, Besigye is right to say that you finally arrived, but it is so sad for the politics of our country. We need strong opposition party, because the oppositional parties, like I gave you, are like the auditors of the political system. When they say, Muruganambu, show me your friends, and so when they are not strong institution, even the ruling party will not be well audited.
Well, still speaking about the argument, we did see that Norbert Mao himself said that this is actually going to benefit the unborn children of Uganda, that they will actually appreciate Yoweri Kaguta Museveni later on in future because of this agreement. Do you think that's
like I told
feasible?
you, if the agreement was endorsed by Democratic Party, this agreement is good. If all political players can come into the play and have a stake, not individualized system. If I'm convinced that this one is a promise of DP, and then these also some come out of NRM, not Yoweri Kaguta Museveni and not Mao, this would be good for the nation. But as we know, these are just for individuals. And they are not institutions, they are individuals for them and for their family. I will take you back to the fact that Muhoozi hinted on Mao before. So this whole thing is being made for a Muhoozi project, not for NRM. I laugh at NRM. This thing is not being made for the average NRM party or NRM member or a peasant. He has no stake in this. It is being made for a project. That's why also DP is telling you, and you are going to see the contestation, they are going to say we are not part of this. And one commentator of DP, one member of parliament, as reading news, says Museveni has been given the answer. But for me, I believe the president knew that Mao is not coming with membership, with backing of membership of DP. He was coming on his individual. So why did he deal with this Mufere if he's also not doing kind of Mufere thing? So this is very unfortunate for a country. It would have been if both institutions and both organizations were in the spirit of the MOU, where it would have been a good precedent, and that's where we want our politics to go. Coalitions have to come, where because it's not one man who wins have it all. No, but this was done by individuals. By
individuals. Well, still speaking about the appointment of Chairman Mao as the new Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, do you think it actually justifies the cries of some NRM members who actually feel that the party is prioritizing outsiders as opposed to its own members?
Yeah, you know, that's why I told you that Ugandan parties have no ideology. Because if they had an ideology, a thinking, it would be good if they bring people who have of the same thinking. But one, NRM no longer has an ideology or a thinking. They are just for eating. So they shouldn't be annoyed if other eaters come in the party, because what has become of party politics is twagala kulyako. So another eater Mao has come to join you on the dining table, eat whatever you have. But if you had an ideology, like I tell you about Labour Party, we are talking about workers of Uganda. If anyone who has a thought which will enhance a worker, when they join you, you are happy.
You're happy to have them.
Yeah, you are happy to have them. But when you have no ideology and it is about eating and feeding your grandchildren and building malls, you enjoy, because Mao also wants to build a mall. So what we are suffering from a country is lack of ideology. So let me ask you, these people who are arguing, is it Betty Kamya who is arguing? At one time did they join? What time did they join, the one who are joining? Because Museveni, his idea is just to buy off everyone. So they would have opposed this before, but since they are actually glorifying this system, it will continue, and I told you it will affect their children, because in the end, the ultimate person who pays for your sins is God. So they are paying their own sin. They came, they benefited from that system, other people will benefit, but it will not help any Ugandan.
Well, with all the criticism and the backlash that Norbert Mao is currently receiving on social media and people giving their opinions, do you think this actually confirms that he was actually a strong opposition stronghold for the opposition in general?
Mao?
Yes.
Yeah, for some time, Mao played patriotic politics. And from the time of, the unfortunate thing is that, and this is hitting us, is he started early enough from student politics.
Yes.
Which is unfortunate, because Mao has never gone to work for any civil service. He has always been in politics. It is unfortunate, and this trend should change in Uganda. Every decent politician should first go and work in institutions. All he's been is a politician. So he actually knows not so much, by the way, about, let's say, the corporate world, the public life. He's always been a politician. But give credit to him that he has somehow sustained to stay on the position for some years.
Do you think the opposition still needed him?
The opposition, no. In the last 5 years, they didn't. Mao was just a comedian. He was not helping anything on the position. Instead, like, he had been acting as a broker for the position to break. So actually, now the opposition is better off, since we know now his status. Because it's like how you see someone hiding a status, infecting the whole village with HIV. It is better now when the status is public, and everyone knows that whoever goes in will deal with them at their own risk. So as opposition, we are more blessed, because we know now the true colors. You remember they talked about the watermelon. First Mao said that some members are like, they are nope. They are green on top and red inside. Then they say for him he's like a suju. He is a pumpkin.
Green on the outside.
Yeah, he's actually now a pumpkin. He's more yellow than green. So he talked of NRM having a Komanyoko politics. Now he has joined what he called Komanyoko politics. So whatever you talk will go around. So that's why we should keep very careful about what we say and what we talk. Yeah. But for Mao before, 10 years ago, but for the last 10 years, he hasn't been helpful to the opposition in Uganda. Yeah, so we won't miss him for the last 5 years.
Well, what does the NRM DP Cooperation Agreement actually mean for opposition political parties in Uganda, like the FDC, NUP, Labour Party, and so forth?
Yeah, it's one. And the good sense in it is that he has tried, and I saw it on even your TV, they're saying he's trying to play some kind of Odinga politics. Because Raila Odinga has been, you know, first his father, Odinga, the senior Odinga, was like, he kind of played that kind of politics of like, it is not about me, it is about the nation, Kenya. So he was supposed to be the first president of Kenya. He let Kenyatta's father, senior Kenyatta, come in. And until they fell off, and Odinga, his son, and the senior Odinga, for about all the political history of Kenya, they've been on the opposition. But coming in to make, they always come in when it is critical, say, no, we have to work together. Then because Odinga made actually Kibaki. And he always had that kind of coalition, kind of bargaining politics. It is also coming in with this kind of negotiation of Mao we see, and especially if it is to do with maybe the Homohozi project or something like that, because Museveni, in a way, has realized that he's going nowhere. Yeah? Time is against him. What we used to tell him, he's seeing the realities. So, in a way, the good hope is that Museveni now has started preparing the stage. But the truth is, how he wants it to be is not how it is going to be. Some things are supernatural, they are beyond him. But I thank God that he's starting to prepare the stage. So he's brought up like minds. Because he's doing it for the son, because Mao, already the son sent the signal. Now Mao is like minds with the son. Maybe he might be his deputy or his prime minister. So the good thing now, if the other opposition is mindful, they should do what President Museveni, the game of chess he's playing. We should now not, as a position, start antagonizing ourselves. The way so DP was fighting with the NUP. No, yes. We should now look at equal minds. We could be equal minds in the position. We have an equal minds in the NRM. So we should start quoting, because the game is being shown. And if you see even in the appointments of the president, all the people he appointed were from the northern Uganda. The chief whip, so he's becoming more friendly to the north because he has lost the central.
The support, and yes.
And the central should never expect anything serious from the president. Then all of us in the political players now should come and start playing that kind of talking to each other to counter what the president is trying to, because he's working out something. And for me, most likely, for the benefit of the son. But this country is for all of us. It is not for Museveni's family like he wants to wish. So we should all come up, like terms, people with the like minds, and start strategizing. Museveni is a strategist. He looks about 20 years ahead. Don't think when he did this thing of Mao, he was looking around 10 years, 20 years ahead. But I want to tell him that we are like strategists.
So before the opposition actually plays the game of chess that you say the president is playing at the moment, Mr. Norbert Mao said that, in fact, all the other opposition members from other political parties should join, should come in. He called upon them to come where the light is. Will we have any opposition left?
Well, where is the light? Where is the light?
He says the light is in working with the NRM.
That wish, that's why we're saying it is good. If we are to come in and we know your program as NRM, it has to be a program for Ugandans, not a program for your family or individual wishes. Or because when I know, if you show us, and that's why I'm saying the conversation is good. And I'll tell you as I'm one of the people willing to talk. If a conversation is about a country, not about individuals, not about birthdays like we are seeing being celebrated. If it is about our nation, Mao should bring out a program they've started with President Museveni, and we will participate. If it is about a nation, if it is about like I saw he's saying, fighting the corruption, and we are also going to study to see how he's going to start. Because we have had leaders like Betty Kamya there for 10 years. What results has Betty Kamya brought in the 5 years? Do you get it?
Yes.
So we are not just going to say we are going to enter everything. And for them, they believe that everyone is going to be bought by money. That is the spirit of mammon. Let them not be like that everyone is bought cheaply.
They say everyone has a price.
Yeah, but some of the people, the price was the blood of Jesus at one time. So not everyone's price is this money you have in the Bank of Uganda, which even depreciates.
Yes.
So some might be dollars, some might be pounds, some of us might be faith. So this, what I call it, Kamanyiro or think of like you will buy everyone with the money from Bank of Uganda is nonsense, and it will not work. So long as the conversation is about Uganda, even if you bought me, another, like I told you, the 7,000 will come up. So you're not going to keep buying every Ugandan. What is the price of a Ugandan? What is the price of our quality of education, which is deteriorating? What is the price of the health system, which has gone down? So the conversation, if it is about Uganda, we are willing to have the conversation.
Yes. Well, now that Norbert Mao is a part of the current government, do you think he actually stands a chance of becoming the next president, considering that months ago, the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, that is General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, said that Chairman Mao is the only president material who is fit to replace President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni?
On that, I will give you an insight that as a historian and a researcher, I will ask you, for example, the only sense I see, like I told you with the 4 ministers, if the 4 were more deployed in the UPDF, like 4 actually generals, and Lange, because mostly they were actually, and Lange were appointed in that, the 4 ministers.
Yes.
I would think these people are talking about a transition which can give Norbert Mao presidency. But they know that the real power lies within the military. And actually, the more you are there, now Mao is more controlled than me. Because wherever he's going to move, he's going to be guarded.
Yes.
Whatever he communicates. So, if these, and I will be frank, these Bantu, Banyankole could not give a Muchiga Mbabazi. They could not give a Muchiga Rugunda. Who tells them that they are going to give it to another person? You know, Uganda is made out of those kind of selfish sentiments, whereby if you see the 2 positions which would give an indication of what is coming after Yoweri Museveni, who is aging, that is Prime Minister Nabanja and Vice President Alupo, and if there is no hope there, what are you talking about Norbert Mao? If they want to make him, even Museveni would have made a reshuffle and made him the Vice President, because constitutionally, that is where the possession is. It is not in the Ministry of Constitutional Affairs. But his is to be just to destroy him. They just invited him to be destroyed for their next generation. Yes. So there is no lie of a President Mao under the NRM, under this kind of sectarianism. It is not there. Some of us who have better history of that and historical from the 50s, how these people operate. I come from the West.
Yes.
I went to the same school. My father was a classmate of the president. That's not how they operate. Their interest first. So Mao, I wish him the best because he's a capable president, by the way. But his is to destroy him, not to give him the presidency.
The power, yes. But it's still speaking about Norbert Mao in his newly appointed position as Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs. Do you think he will deliver?
Deliver what? He can't. He can't deliver his wishes. If he was a president, you see, it's the spirit and ideology, like I told you. He is operating under. Let me tell you, in that, yes, let's say ministry, as who know institutions, how institutions operate, he is a Minister of Constitutional Affairs. I was talking to a Musoga friend of mine who was celebrating that now Basoga have finally, he has saying, by the way, right now, if you go to see in that cabinet, Banyankole are no longer there. And Banyankole Bahima, their section is no longer there. But they already set their stage. I told him, Norbert Mao is going to have a PA who is from Kashari, Nyabushozi. He's going to have all the escorts from some places. He's going to have all, so he is a captive from today and he cannot go away because he is more captive. That's why you call state capture. And he cannot change those people. First of all, they are public servants. He can only go with his personal assistant, but the rest are set there. That ministry is already full of people who he cannot change. So what is he going to change? Those people are building arcades which are halfway, and they have to be complete. They have their interests, which have been there for 36 years. If Mao attempts, he will cry for us like Oranya. Oranya's father's cries. If Mao, you attempt to change anything now, you under the most serious captivity. Do you get it?
Yes.
That's why I said for our country we need a conversation, and a honest conversation. To say that he's going to change anything is laughable.
It's laughable.
It is when all the country have a genuine conversation. Mao cannot change anything. He cannot change the spirit which is in the country.
Yes. Now, as we wind up in the interest of time, what are some of the best options that you think the disgruntled DP members have? Is it rebuilding DP, or is it maybe joining other political parties like how the DP bloc joined the biggest opposition party in Uganda right now, the NUP?
Yeah. No, one, it is to fight for what is remaining. Like
rebuild the party.
Like even the first one, when you die, you first get the body. The spirit, the soul has gone and parts, but you cannot now also leave the body on the street. You get the body, you go and bury it.
Yes.
So that's why the UYD are at the headquarters. They are getting the ashes out of what is remaining. And in this case, they could be lucky because they said they are Ho and Mbumuhinyi, the stick could have gone with Mao. It depends on which part has gone, because it could be the stick or it could be the metal part of the DP symbol. But if they are lucky and maybe it's a metal part and Mao went with the stick, then they can start from there. They can get, and for me I know, it's in natural, God has done it, they can get another leader. He might not be vocal as Mao, but they need to first protect their institution and their institutional belief, because spirits never die out. It is individuals who can go, but spirits and goals and visions never die out. They are very lucky. They still have the father, one of the founding fathers, Paul Semogele, around. He will give 1 or 2 words of advice, yes. And they can pick their party. But if they also escort Mao to NRM, there will be no more. Have you ever had a press conference of Federal Alliance by Betty Kamya, who is the IGG? Have you ever?
No.
Because they escorted Betty Kamya to
NRM,
and it was an individual party. So that is the wisdom. They would rather, and I wouldn't also advise them to join other parties like ours. They should keep that mind. That mindset of DP was good enough. And at worst case scenario, let them have a museum and remember DP as one of the oldest party and a memory. But they cannot walk with DP, with Mao to the NRM and sell everything. We will have missed DP. Okay,
Dr. Rogers Bargayomwe, in your closing remarks, kindly talk to us about the NRM DP Cooperation Agreement and some of the comments that people made earlier on, like Betty Namboze, all those comments that they made in regards to Norbert Mao. What are some of your closing remarks?
Yeah, the closing remark is there is no cooperation. This was hoodwinking Ugandans. The best thing to study MOU is to study that with other existing Ugandan. Yeah. President Yoweri Museveni had an understanding with his own, the founding people who started, first of all, Fronasa, which came to be the NRA. And they are grappling, they are still grumbling that the man hoodwinked them. Now for you come after 30 years, 40 years, and you think yours is going to stand. The history always has to teach us where we are going. So we can't disregard history, and by the history of corporations, it can just say it sets a small precedent, but it cannot, this specific one will not work it will die in the first month. Because in this first month, Mao will no longer be the President General of DP.
Yes.
So now he'll be talking as Mao and his cooperation with Museveni, no longer DP. So how can it work? Yet he signed as a President General of DP. So it cannot work. It has died on its first day.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us on today's show.
Pleasure.
Well, that winds up what we had for you this morning on our Twitter Jabs. Of course, the conversation continues on our social media platforms. That is Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at CTV Uganda. Before we get in for our views, I'm going to leave you with a video of the DP faction of the DP members of Parliament, their faction, who have come out to denounce Norbert Mao and actually said they plan on electing the new DP party president. This is Sunrise at Sea. Don't blink.
According to the DP Parliamentary Caucus members, what was done by Mao and the party's Secretary General Gerald Siranda to aside with NRM at the time when Ugandans are working to restore democracy, the rule of law and accountability is unacceptable. The MPs say Mao and Siranda have chosen to become ex-officials of DP.
Democratic Party has suffered with a baggage called Mao. You're very aware that it was very tight for us to go through the last election with Mao on the side. And it was the only thing that the voters were telling us, we would vote you but Mao. We saw members of the Democratic Party moving into other parties, like National Unity Platform and others, where they could seek comfort. And all they were saying was, Mao works with Museveni.
Don't keep on sustaining financially a party with the president who is not there, actually. The president is gone. So we cannot keep on financing such a party. For now, we shall not be contributing until the National Executive Committee sits and finds.
We have not been what we wanted to be. Is because our party leader had kept a knee on our neck. We could not breathe. We could not breathe because he kept a knee on our neck. The party was not breathing. Now we are breathing. We are even breathing fire.
The legislators say since Mao and Siranda never consulted party organs like the National Council and the National Executive Committee, their action is illegitimate.
We want to disassociate ourselves from the contents of that agreement because up to now we don't know its contents. We hear you newsmen talking about it, the press. We don't know how it was discussed. We don't know how it came to be as it is. We don't know. Not informed about that agreement, and we don't know how the two people came to agree to sign that agreement without the inputs of the legal department of the Democratic Party, without the input of the National Executive Committee, without the input of the National Council of the party.
I disagree strongly, in no uncertain terms, that a person can cross from one party to another, gets a ministerial job, and continues to lead the party from within the dictatorship that we are opposing. It can't be. You see, that is where the troubles with him can come from. We are saying we wish Comrade Norbert Mao well. He's going to serve in this government, no doubt about that.
We are not party to this. We shall not be. However sweet it can be a deal. We are an opposition party and we shall remain so.
The MPs asked party members and supporters who withdrew their support to the party after suspecting Mao's leadership method to come home since Mao has decided to join NRM.
Urging all the people that left the Democratic Party because of Mao, it is time to come back home.
He's gone.
He's gone. He's gone.
The party's legal advisor, Luyimba Zinalkola, says Mao's agreement with NRM is illegal.
Now we are planning as a party to invoke processes and principles that will take us to another stage. Our party will hold a number of meetings, including but not limited to one by the neck, and that will take us to another step. Should the NEC make a decision that Honorable Mao and his allies should be suspended from those positions they were occupying, and I'm aware some of them have already exited by the fact that they have already taken positions in the NRM government.
Sarah Nakandi for CTV, PM Edition.